experiment begins.
Yeah, this is my favorite arc on Quest. Notcry has just been a tremendously insane roller coaster ride, and with Act 8, we're nearing the end. Major stories have been wrapped up, and now we got to pick up some remaining mystery. The way this act immediately starts is incredible. We had the Act 7 of building up the investigation into the energy fields with Albedo, Dern, and Wanderer. That leads up to the first 10 minutes of this act, where the Wanderer breaks through the energy field as the Traveler is trying to backstab Dottore and rescues us from the energy fields. Just an incredible moment of bringing up the intensity that this is a non-stop paced freaking quest. And then having a conclusion to Rerir and Thelindis' story was excellently done. For Rerir, he was not redeemed. Instead, the game chose to use this moment of Rerir being trapped in the moon's reflection as a way for him to reflect on all the awful things he has done, and also to never have him be able to be with Thelindis again. But through that moment, Rerir and Thelindis were able to be at peace with each other, knowing that they're both in the same space together. As for Thelindis, well, she tried to go back in time to save Rerir by killing our sibling, because our sibling is the reason why the Venser King started the research into the Abyss. This is some insane, crazy lore drop that Thelindis just dropped on us. Our brother is the cause of the start of this genocide. He's the reason why the cataclysm happened in Conria. We already know that the spaceship landed before Conria, like the cataclysm. So did our brother cause all the cataclysms in Teyvat? I don't trust this man anymore, okay? He seemed like bad news. We also got to see the moon goddesses, and that was such an awesome reveal. Even for just a moment, seeing the moon goddesses I don't know, it was a moment that I just wasn't expecting in the story, but I'm happy that we got it. And through them, we learned that the Heavenly Principles is paranoid about powerful beings. But that paranoia grew over time. And I'm so curious, what made the Heavenly Principles so paranoid? Were they worried that the goddesses would try to overthrow them? Was it worried that Nibelung would come back and destroy them? And then we get into an incredible Dottore fight. From him ripping open the false sky to us fighting on a giant god hand. There were so many fun and cool mechanics. I was just having a blast and freaking out on stream playing it. And to have the world formula slowly progressing as we're wailing on Dottore brought some even further intensity to the fight. And then Sandrone showing up to also aid us in that fight was so unexpected. And for her to die, not only was I not expecting that, but I was in denial till the end of the quest. I guess I never saw the character arc that was building for Sandrone. I was focused so much on the other characters that I never thought that Sandrone's arc would lead to her making the ultimate sacrifice. A character who was once so selfish performs the most selfless act. A truly powerful moment in this quest that led to another hype moment of Varka and Arlecchino lending their powers with Nicole to bring down the Frost Moon. And we get this very funny moment where Dottore is like, nope, closes up the false sky, and then the moon just bursts through it. It's so awesome. And it gets even better because Columbina shows up and she begins kicking ass. She removes her blindfold, she opens her eyes, she domain expansions Dottore, and then everyone performs a final attack on Dottore, and he's dead. He's gone. He's never coming back. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Because right now, has the beautiful conclusion to this story arc, we take a trip to the moon. What I appreciate about this sequence is how Hoyoverse takes us on an emotional journey to the moon. First, we get this wonderful story of Columbino talking about Lauma, Nicole, Sandrone, and the Traveler. However, the way they present this story is so awesome because we are following Columbina on this like 2D side scrolling kind of game, and we're seeing all these beautiful visuals in the background. I really hope they continue to try more unique ways of presenting the story, like what we just saw here. It's a really nice thing to be able to control the character while the story is being told. I also really love when we took a boat ride to the moon. We don't actually need to know the mechanics behind how Columbina brought us to the moon. What we need is that emotional journey for us to feel good when we finally make it to the moon. And this is what made this moment so memorable. This is Hoyoverse at their best. But Hoyoverse wasn't done there. As we are on the actual moon, seeing Teyvat from the moon is such a breathtaking moment. I struggle to wonder how Hoyoverse will top these incredible visuals, but just being on the moon and being able to see all the different cities and locations on Teyvat was such an awe-inspiring experience. I never would have guessed that the game I've been playing for hundreds upon hundreds of hours, that I would get to see this world that I was playing in from a different perspective. It was such a special feeling. The moon was a calm, relaxing place where we can just chill with Columbina on our spaceship and just talk. She even granted us a portion of her powers and buffed all of our elemental abilities, which is just such a cherry on the top of this wonderful, delicious cake that Hoyoverse has made. And I don't even like cherries. Hoyoverse nailed the emotional impact of this relationship between the Traveler and Columbina. Did I forget to mention that the Heavenly Principles threw our spaceship on the moon, and that the current theory among some of the community is that the onboard computer is either Paimon or the Heavenly Principles? That can't be right. Actually, I have my own theory. Now, I can understand why people believe in that onboard computer idea, because the lore of the new outfits has to be written by someone. And the lore talks about the twins, so it couldn't be Aether or Lumine. The lore refers to itself with it and a pioneering vessel. It also refers to several mechanical terms like disconnected, its idea association module, quick calculation in reference to a supernova event, and upgrading the siblings. This all kind of indicates a onboard computer of some sort of AI, but at the same time, there are a few human qualities, like it laying clothes over the stasis pod and describing the journey across space as romantic. It also has some godlike powers in relation to what is capable in Teyvat, such as reshaping terrain, adjusting the air, rebuilding an ecosystem, like it's some sort of creator of life. Also, is it not strange that Reindaughter and Naberius' outfits all feature a white outfit with gold trim? And also, isn't it interesting that Lumine and Aether's colors are gold and blue, much like Reindaughter and Naberius' eyes? And the fact that Naberius' representation is a floating computer-like screen. What I am trying to say is that Naberius is who I believe is writing the lore for the outfit. But since Naberius was created from the Heavenly Principles, I guess what I'm trying to say is that the Heavenly Principles wrote it and that the community is right. I believe them. The Heavenly Principles came from our spaceship. It's also strange that the spaceship came to Teyvat briefly a few thousand years ago, which if we look at the massive scale of time in Teyvat, that's around the time that the Heavenly Principles arrived in Teyvat. Of course, as the quest finishes, we get a very glitchy effect that is hinting at Dottore still being alive. The Wanderer does remind us about Dottore's segment, so it's possible that we still haven't met Prime Dottore. Ding Lu from the live chat mentioned about the blue-horned lizard that appeared in the beginning of Act 7, relating that to the Dotori's experiments about swapping minds between animals and humans. That is such a great catch, because it got me thinking that, did he transfer his consciousness to an animal? Or has he learned how to transfer his consciousness to his segments? In Sumeru Act 5, we learned previously that his segments are meant to be their own individuals, and even though he did erase them, he mentions that it's only a matter of time before he finds a better perspective. We also don't know what experiments were being ran in the other two energy fields. On top of that, Dotori was a god for a while, so the amount of possibilities of what he could have done is endless. It makes me really happy that Dotori is being built up as an endgame villain, because he is just so much fun to watch in the game. I am certainly excited to learn more about him whenever he may show up. Oh, I also love that we got a 99% confirmation that the Tsaritsa is using a delusion. And with how things are building up, we might be teaming up with the Fatui to save Tabat from the Heavenly Principles. Like imagine us being the ones to willingly give Mabuika's Gnosis to the Tsaritsa for her to complete her plan. Oh man, incredible. Huge thank you to the Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube members for supporting the channel. For those in the community gifting memberships, thank you so much. And the next video you'll see from me is my Lantern Rite video, and then after that, it's gonna be my video about some of the criticism that the community has towards Nodcry. So I'm very excited to dive into that and better understand what went wrong with Nodcry, because as you can tell, I'm very excited about this Archon quest, but I want to learn the issues with it, you know? I think that better helps open my mind up to like valid criticisms of an arc that I found truly incredible. But that's it from me. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye now. Bye.